Welcome back to the center of it all. Are you tired of making the same old birthday cake? Well, now's the time to try something new. Mel is baking up a coffee cake that is sure to have you addicted.
Come on over for some coffee and cake. Coffee cake. Can you think of one occasion where a coffee cake doesn't fit in perfectly? I sure can't. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a classic coffee cake. One with a Sorry, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Come on over for some coffee and cake. Coffee cake. Can you think of one occasion where a coffee cake doesn't fit in perfectly? I sure can't. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a classic coffee cake. One with a buttery rich batter and a brown sugary streusel layer in between. Streusel is the German word meaning scattered or sprinkled, and almost every coffee cake gets a streusel topping scattered or sprinkled on top of it. In the case of today's mixture, I'm starting with 3/4 of a cup of dark brown sugar, and I've got 3/4 of a cup of pecans, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, and a 1/2 teaspoon of cloves. And I'm going to stir the pecans together with my spices to get them evenly coated. Then I'm going to stir the coated pecans into the brown sugar. And I did it this way so that when I stir the coated nuts into the brown sugar, all of those spices get evenly incorporated into the sugary streusel topping. Classic coffee cake batter is rich with butter and eggs and usually contains baking powder and/or brown sugar too. Past that, they almost all have a tangy mixture stirred into them like buttermilk, cream cheese, and in the case of today's recipe, sour cream. I've got 1.5 cups, and I've got 3 cups of flour with 1.5 teaspoons each of baking powder and baking soda. And I'm just going to give them a little bit of a stir. Doesn't have to be thorough, they just have to be stirred in a little. In my bowl, I've got 1.5 stick of butter, 3 eggs. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract and 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. And with my handheld electric mixer, you don't need a big stand mixer to make a coffee cake. I'm just going to cream together these ingredients for about a full minute. My butter, sugar, and eggs are creamed together, and now it's time to add my flour mixture and my sour cream. And I'm going to do that alternately in 3 increments each of about 1/3 each. So I'm going to start with about 1/3 of the flour. I'm going to mix this on low speed, and as we work, you'll see how I add everything 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. I'm putting in the last of the sour cream. And I'm going to give this a real thorough last mix. Our batter's done, and now it's time to layer our ingredients in the pan. I'm using a vintage 10-inch tube pan, an angel food type pan. Feel free to use a 12-cup bundt pan if you like the shape of a bundt pan better. What I'm going to start is layering about 2 cups of batter into the bottom of the pan. The first layer is probably the most important to get even, because you want to spread the batter out to cover the surface, the whole surface of the bottom of the baking pan. That's great. I hope the camera can get a good see there. Now I'm going to take about a half a cup of my streusel topping, and just by shaking and turning the pan, I'm going to sprinkle a half a cup of my streusel in there. And again, we're going to go back for approximately 2 more cups. This isn't rocket science, this is cake baking, easy cake baking. And I'm going to put about 2 more cups of this buttery rich cake batter in it. I'm just going to try to spread this out into the sides, into the center. This is one of the prettiest coffee cakes you're ever going to make, if I do say so myself. Looking real good. Now I'm going to sprinkle all of the rest of my streusel into the pan. And last but not least, I'm going to give this a couple of really good shakes to even everything out. This is going into a 350-degree oven for 50 to 55 minutes. When it comes out, it's going to cool for 1 to 2 hours before I drizzle it with the nifty little vanilla glaze. The cake's in the oven, and while I wait, I'm going to show you how to make my glaze, which is really easy. I've got a 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, and I've stirred 4 tablespoons of milk with a tablespoon of vanilla extract together. And I'm going to add not quite all of this yet until we see how drizzly it actually gets. I usually withhold about a tablespoon. Just stir this together. Well, it's not drizzly yet, so we're going to add all of this today. Now we're talking. Now you could still see a couple of little, it's real drizzly, and you could still see a couple of little lumps in this. And the reason I make it the second I put the cake in the oven is because I'm just going to set this aside, and in the course of the next 20 or 30 minutes, all of those little lumps are going to completely disappear. Thanks to some post-war ad campaigns by the American Coffee Bureau, by the 1950s, America was a country of coffee drinkers. In the workplace, the 15-minute coffee break was born. And if you were a housewife, once you got your husband out the door and your kids off to school, you likely participated in a coffee klatsch, the German word for coffee chat. And we all know Nothing goes better with a cup of coffee over gossip than a slice of coffee cake. For these and all of my recipes, just go to my website.
I love going to Mel's because she always lets us try everything she cooks, and even though this is only my second week, I have yet to be disappointed. When we come back on the center of it all, we talk everything golf.